One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I believe we have a couple of oaths of office.
Cantrell, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, Charter and Code of Ordinances of the City of Downtown Development Authority Board member to the best of my ability.
I do.
I, Lisa Atchison, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the City Charter and Code of Ordinances of the City of Phoenix, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Downtown Development Authority member to the best of my ability.
I will. Thank you.
Roll call, please. Ms. Arp. Haven't heard from her.
Ms. Arp, she was not able to make it today.
Ms. Atchison.
Here.
Mr. Cantrell. Here. Ms. Ennis.
Here.
Ms. Gates.
Here.
Ms. Gates times two. Mr. Hyder. Mr. Reamer's present. Thank you. Those public comments, those citizens wishing to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concern. This is the only time during the meeting citizens are allowed to address the DDA. Please state your name and address for the record if you would like. Hearing none, seeing none, we move on to any conflicts of interest and ex parte communication. Seeing none, we move on to our agenda. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to look at that. Unless there are additions or subtractions, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Support.
Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Biannual information presentation, the illustrious Ms. Johnson.
So this is part of our requirement as a DDA board. We do have to hold 2 informational meetings per year. So I did give a pretty detailed presentation at our last informational meeting. So I will just kind of highlight some of the goals that the DDA has. Those include creation of new off-street parking lots, alley improvements, acquisitions, construction of buildings, structures, and properties, improvements to renovation of existing buildings, constructions of parks, improvements to the White Pine Trail, improve accessibility to downtown area from the White Pine Trail, commercial business and building development and redevelopment, municipal buildings, development of cohesive standards of citywide signage and standards, pedestrian and bicycle improvements, business and downtown development and marketing, and establishing downtown recreation and annual signature events. So this is in your packet, and then you do have a detailed report as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have as well.
It's a very fine likeness on page 5. Well done. Is this on the website? Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Johnson. With that, we will move on to our consent agenda. Contained in your packet, you will find the minutes of the regular meeting of February 23rd. Also our balance sheet and our revenue and expense reports. Unless there are any questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, sign. Agenda is approved. Unfinished business. We are moving on to a discussion of the demolition and revitalization grant update with our subcommittee minutes.
provide the board a quick update. The subcommittee did meet. We are working through on identifying all of the different requirements and eligibility pieces of that grant program. So at this point, we don't have a finalized version of that yet, but we are continuing to work towards an application process and an evaluation process as well. So more to come on that. But I just wanted to keep you guys updated as far as where we are with that process.
In your packet on beginning on page 33. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. Any questions or comments?
So I'm happy to join that. My conflict has been removed if you guys would like somebody else in there.
I have no problem with more voices, although it's tough enough to schedule 3 of us, but
If you needed somebody, I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
needs a strong word, but hang out and join us if you can.
If you
Appreciate your.
if you need somebody else, I'm willing to.
See, now we'll have the board meet. Again, it's an open meeting. You publish it. If anybody that wants to come and offer their input, I think it's valued by all of us on that subcommittee. So Lord knows I don't need any more meetings.
I think the next one is scheduled for April 20th, right? What time? Where at?
April 20th here.
What's the subcommittee called? Just
Downtown Development, Demolition and Revitalization Subcommittee. I do just want to note that we can't have more than 5 of our board members participating, just because then I would have to notice it as a regular meeting of the board. Yeah. Yeah.
But they can attend as audience and, yeah, okay. So the subcommittee would stay the same.
Happy to see you guys join. Just wanted to clarify that for you guys.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to new business. We have a facade grant extension request. Looks like you have a little additional information on our
So if you don't mind, I can give you guys a little bit of back information, because some of you guys haven't been on the board quite long enough to know that when this was approved. So I'll give you guys some information. So on February 24th, 2025, the DDA board approved up to $5,000 match for a facade grant for 30 South Main Street. Per the grant requirements, the improvements must start within 6 months of approval, and the project must be completed within 1 year of the grant approval. So Mr. Conflitti, the applicant in this case, was not able to meet either of the required deadlines, the 6-month start and the year completion. So I just wanted to give you guys some information on that. So on February 24th, Darla did email Mr. Conflitti, let him know that the project had been approved, identified the 6-month start date and the completion date of 1 year. June 9th, Ms. Darla Falcon also emailed Mr. Conflitti for an update on that project. At that time, he was in the queue for the project to be completed by his contractor. He had one other project that the contractor needed to complete before he could begin his project. On August 26th, I had emailed Mr. Conflitti, reminded him again of the 1 year completion date, and notified him that he did not meet the 6-month start completion requirement for that project. I did request an update of him by no later than September 18th at noon. However, I was not provided with one. So fast forward to February of this year, after the 1 year required completion date, I had reached out to Mr. Conflitti, asked him about his project. He had reported that he thought he had more time to complete the project. And then subsequently, he had provided me with new quotes from a new company. One quote was for the exact same application that you guys had already approved, which was 6 windows and 2 doors. And then a revised quote for 3 windows and 1 door, with the addition of some paint of $10,000 on that one. At that time, I did let him know that I am not authorized to make changes in the scope of work, and that is a priority of the board to decide whether or not you would permit a change in the scope of work. Additionally, I also informed him that the project had expired. I had encouraged him to reapply. But at this point in time, he'd like the board to discuss what you would like to do as far as your options. You have the option to extend the original application, which is 6 doors, 2 windows. And his quote on that was $14,800, which was included in your packet. Option 2 would be to extend the original application and approve of this change of scope in the work. That you'll have 2 motions if you choose to go down that route. And then otherwise you could formally close the facade grant that was issued in 2025 and ask him to reapply. Mr. Conflitti was not able to be here today. You do have a letter from him in your packet, and you do have a representative, I believe, from his office if you guys had any additional questions. The only thing that I would just be mindful in your decision today, because whatever you decide today will set a precedence for any future applications.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any questions from the board?
Abby, does he have a contractor secured? So I vote that we close his application and make him put in a new one.
Is that your motion, Ms. Ensley?
And the motion and then have discussion. Second.
Any further discussion?
Can I say a few things?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was left out in the open, like he didn't know the dates and then he wasn't called and contacted, but he didn't really do a lot of returning, communication with the office. So I think that, knowing that, that would be what I would probably go for too, to close it, and if he wants to reapply, he can. I hate to have that building not, taken care of, but there's only so much we can do. And then other people, if you let it go for like too long, then other people can't do it. So the money's tied up.
Right,
Mhm.
like these
Yeah.
are our rules, and this is what it's gonna be, and if you don't follow those rules, then you have to start over. And my fear is if we give him an extension and he hasn't secured a contractor, a year from now, we're gonna be having the same conversation.
Have contractor secured for future applications. That may be something we want to consider as we approve future projects.
So he did in his original application have a quote from that contractor. So I think as far as having a signed contract, if we want to add that into our facade application, we certainly, I think, can do that.
Page 37, he acknowledges the dates in that letter at that time, correct? So not being aware is not.
That's not an answer.
I'm trying to go through the facade grant program myself. And I thought that actually a part of it was that I had to turn in documentation from the contractor along with a copy of their insurance. So that's pretty much saying this should be all set and ready to go. I'm just needing somebody to sign off. So not knowing enough, wanting to say less, I thought that actually having a secured contractor was already a part of it.
The application does require a quote and a copy of their insurance. However, it does not require a signed contract with a certain contract in order to do the work.
Varying comments?
Well, not to split hairs, but so securing a contractor, then would that not technically be already starting the project?
Yeah.
I think the spirit of the application is to start the project as in work on the building.
You get a quote and then then you go through this application process to make sure you get the funds. Then you sign on the dotted line. That's just my understanding of the process, but is that not correct or?
That is.
So
I haven't been provided with a signed contract with any vendor.
And he just has to reapply. So, yeah. So it'll be new budget year and those previous funds now are kind of moved over maybe to demolition, yeah. Okay, we have a motion. Is there any further discussion? Those we have a motion on the floor in the second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
We have to. It's regarding funds. It's not.
It's we're not spending it.
Already the funds at this point. We're just asking them to reapply. So. Alrighty, Chamber of Commerce donation holiday lighting.
Okay, so the Chamber of Commerce has had some discussion regarding the possible dissolution of the Chamber of Commerce. When I had discussions with the board members at the time, they had discussed having to potentially expend some of the remaining funds from the Chamber of Commerce, and they had asked whether or not the DDA would accept those funds. And their ask at the time was to assign them to holiday lighting in the downtown district. I haven't heard an update on that recently, but I don't know if we do have a couple members of the Chamber of Commerce here if they wanted to add anything. But generally, I'm just looking for some discussion from you guys today, whether or not you would like to accept those funds. If that's the case, and you would also be willing to restrict those funds for holiday lighting, then we can work on developing an agreement to make that happen. So.
Chamber members present that want to speak to what's going on?
So basically the chamber,
Please.
Perry Hopkins, 90 North Main Street. So the Chamber of Commerce, we started in 2012, as an all volunteer base. We didn't expect over 12 years later that we'd all still be volunteers. We expected we'd get enough of the businesses and organizations to join the chamber that we could at some point hire somebody to do the day-to-day stuff. That just hasn't happened. There's, a minor portion of the community that's involved with the chamber, and most of it's right here. And so we sent a letter to our members in January. Hey, our annual meeting's coming up. To continue on without restructuring or dissolving, we need at least 10 people willing to volunteer to make things happen between the events and day-to-day stuff. We had 2 people show up, one willing to help, others couldn't help necessarily, but they was there for moral support. And so the consensus is, instead of 3 or 4 of us killing our businesses and ourselves to make things happen, we're going to dissolve. And the way the bylaws are, our funds need to go to something, a nonprofit or municipal organization where the funds are going to benefit the businesses of Cedar Springs. And so one of the things we thought was best was the chamber is what started getting the lights on Main Street relit after the city dissolved that after the personal property part of their way of cutting funds. And so we would like the funds to be able to continue on that as long as the funds was available. It's probably about 18 grand, give or take, after final closures are done.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. Any discussion from the board?
I would just, for one, like to thank Perry for all the work you have done. I know it's a lot, and I just wish that we could find another way, and keep it going. I don't know what you would do. I mean, you ask for help from the community, and it's hard to get people to do things lately. So I'm not sure what the answer is.
Signature events like the Christmas and New Year one. If this board wanted to take that on, I'd be willing to help. My business requires me to be there in physical.
Anyone else?
Good run, buddy.
I would also thank Mr. Hopkins for all the work you've done, as well as the other members of the board. I know a lot of you guys have dedicated a ton of time time, energy, and treasure to this town. And the town is better for your efforts. Personally, I think it's within our mission, and it's an excellent use of those funds to earmark them towards the lighting. I would have absolutely no problem with that personally. Any other comments? Entertain a motion to accept these funds with an earmark towards the holiday lighting.
They're not. They haven't totally dissolved and done that yet. Is that what you're gonna say, Rebecca? I'm sorry.
We would need to accept it, correct?
Thing for us to do at this point is you guys have given me some feedback. I'll work with the chamber to identify the best path forward, whether that be a simple agreement. We just want something that says that they're going to donate it and these are the funds that they can be used for and so forth. So we'll work on solidifying that with them and then we'll bring it back to the board at your guys' next meeting. I don't think we're in a rush by any means, unless I'm corrected. Okay, well, I think you can do that, and we'll bring back a formal,
I'd like to repeat, thank you all very much for all of your effort and your time and the many, many years, and no one knows how many hours that you've spent and dedicated your heart and spirit to making things happen downtown. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Sad to see you go.
Thank you. We'll move on to correspondence and adjustment to the 2026 calendar.
yep, nothing there, just, I do have a couple notes when you get down to my manager, the assistant city manager's report, but
Time. The minute index is contained within your packet, and also bylaw review.
part of my report. So in lieu of having a April meeting, because that is hopefully the week that we will be closing to the public to move our building, if you guys could take just a peek at the bylaws and see if there are any revisions or updates that you guys would like to see within there. Obviously, the address change is going to be one of those things that we need to update. It does indicate 66 South Main in the bylaws, so that was kind of a timely time to do some of those basic updates. If you see any grammar, verbiage, anything in there, just good to refresh each of the board members on those bylaws every once in a while.
Making city manager comments as well.
I can. Ms. Falcon was not able to join us today, but the building is going well at 130 West Muskegon Street. So we're hoping at your next meeting, which is going to be May 18th, mark that in your calendars because that is not our normal meeting date due to the holiday, that we will be there. We're working, button up all the final details with that. So yeah.
Hoping root beers. Okay, DDA director's report then. Do you want to go over that again or anything else?
I think I'm good. I just do want to thank the Chamber of Commerce to the value added to our community. And my hope is that maybe this is a short reprieve and that maybe in the future, whatever may come, well welcomed by our community. So thank you to all of them, truly.
Thank you. Then we'd move on to trustee comments, and we won't pick on the rookie yet. So we'll start with Sonia.
Well, I just am looking forward to the breakthrough that we've had with the subcommittee meeting and where that's headed. That's really inspiring to me, and to be able to watch downtown grow and develop and to be able to be part of it. And again, sad to see the chamber go. It was a really valuable asset to the community.
Thank you. Ms. Atchison?
Just the same really basically. And I'm glad to see the new faces that we've got on the board and the old ones.
Why are you looking at me?
But thanks for serving, but we do need some people on the planning commission if anybody knows anybody. And that is it.
Tyler?
Yeah, thank you guys for all you've done for the city. Hopefully it only lasts for a little while and you come back and restart it now. And then, yeah, looking forward to a fun summer, so.
Say you're gonna join us? Is that what you said?
Maybe.
Chris, any comments at all?
Well, thank you for inviting me here. Thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to this, getting a chance to be a part of the community. It's going to be sad to actually see the Chamber of Commerce go. I haven't really been around and as a business owner long enough to really be a part of everything as much as I would like, and still trying to forge my own path with getting the business up and going. But, no, it's going to be sad, but I hope to still continue to make connections and network and work with everybody here and in the community as well too, to make good things happen.
I'll say welcome to Christian and thanks to the chamber as well.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for everything you've done. I know how hard you guys have worked, and I do appreciate everything that you have done.
I'll echo the others, the level of activities and the diversity of events that we've had in town is really thanks to the chamber. I mean, you guys have put a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, time and treasure into this. So I don't know if everyone always has really realized how much you guys have done. Welcome to Chris. I believe we're close on the concerts in the park for this summer, the Music in the Park, Music in the Heart. The last I heard, there was one more to be scheduled, so that will be announced shortly as well. And it's another one of our great activities that have taken place, has grown here over the last couple of years. So, so thanks to everyone who's made that happen. And with that, I believe April says I can just adjourn. 12:27.